You're listening to the Passionista podcast, episode number 24. Well, hello, Passionista. Before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to let you know about something really exciting. My course, Called and Confident, is out into the world, and I created it for women just like you that are wanting to walk out their calling in confidence, in boldness, and go after what God has called them to do. Because here's what I know is that you were called for such a time as this, that you have unique gifts and strength and so much impact to bring to the world. But here's the other thing that I know. After over a decade of experience coaching women is that we all kind of struggle with the same patterns, the same things like fear, imposter syndrome, overcoming our past, overcoming all of the insecurity and self-doubt and the things that hold us back. So I created a course showing you how to overcome all of those fears, walk in your identity in Christ, and do it in a way that is unique to you. So I know that you were destined to make an impact, and I just really want to encourage you to let this year be the year that you step out. I would invite you to get inside that course, to enroll today. And do not wait one more second, because here's what I know. It's that you are one woman with one life, and we don't want to waste any more time in doubt and fear and insecurity. So head over to bit.ly.com/called confidence. The link will also be in the show notes, and join today. Welcome to the Passionista podcast, where we believe that passion is everything. I'm Lindsay Nadler, empowerment coach and leader of the Passionista community. Here on the podcast, you'll find inspiring stories of women who've turned their passion into a reality, as well as the best coaching tips and resources so you can do the same and walk out your calling with confidence. All right, Passionista, let's get to it. In today's episode, I want to talk with you about leadership, and I want to lay a solid foundation for what leadership is, and I want to encourage you to embrace your own unique style of leadership. I also want to encourage you today on this episode to get honest with yourself, to get accountable, and to let go of any shame or guilt or any of that nonsense. That's not what today's episode is about. Today's episode is about encouraging you and empowering you to walk in the leadership that God designed you to walk in. So I know that many women struggle with the concept of them being a leader, especially women that were maybe raised in more conservative religious homes, or maybe you're down here in the Bible Belt like me and you've heard messages your whole life that women are not leaders, that we are to follow, sometimes follow blindly, that we are to be submissive above all things, et cetera, et cetera. So if you know anything about me, I believe in the equality and the empowerment of women, and I believe that God called you to lead. I believe that God created you to rule and reign alongside men, way back, even going to the Garden of Eden, that you were called to rule and reign and to co-create with God and to advance the kingdom of God. That's what I believe. And because we live in a very broken world that has systematically oppressed women for a very long time, many people believe that women are not leaders, that we play a supportive role. Well, I would challenge you and tell you that sometimes playing that supportive role is the best form of leadership. And I've talked with so many women, and when I ask them, do you consider yourself a leader, and how are you leading? How are you showing up? It's like that. Many times that concept has been, it's such a foreign concept. They think, well, I'm not a leader because I'm a woman. And I want to flip the script for you and let you know, because you are a woman, it means you are a leader. For women, I really believe that we are thermostats, of our environment. We're thermostats of our home, which means that we're not reactive, we're proactive, and that we can go into any scenario and kind of measure what the emotional aptitude is and change it with our presence. John Maxwell describes leadership as this: leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And every single one of us has a certain measure of influence in our life. And if we want to increase our leadership, that means we increase our influence. Well, how do you increase your influence? John Maxwell, who is one of the most prolific leadership minds in the world, probably in our lifetime, says that we increase our influence by adding value. Now, for me, this is my spin on it. How do we add value? For me, it means showing up fully to my life, showing up to the people I love, showing up to my calling, showing up, continuing to show up, and not just show up, but to show up fully present and fully confident. That's one of the reasons why I created my course, Called and Confident. And I have made it a mission to encourage and empower women to do what they do with confidence, to know that you are a leader, to know that God created you whole and powerful. And inside of an intimate relationship with Him, your identity is walking out as one of the most confident people on the planet, one of the most confident people groups on the planet, because you are a child of God. And you are representative of His nature. You're made in His image, and your identity, your confidence, how you show up to your life has to be rooted, and you have to have a foundation in who you are in the sight of God. So, I believe that leadership is influence, and we increase our influence when we show up fully alive and when we show up confidently wherever we go. So I wanted to take a minute in this episode to talk about what I believe some of the best leaders do. Leadership 101. For me, I have spent the amount of probably an Ivy League college education on personal growth, leadership, mentorship. I have made it a priority of mine to invest in group coaching and masterminds and personal development, leadership development at such a high level, because I know that when I invest in myself, I have the ability to make a greater impact on the world. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I'm one woman with one life, and I'm here to make an impact. I'm not here to just survive. I'm actually here to live fully and to rule and reign and to advance the kingdom like we talked about earlier. So I've spent the equivalent, probably more than that, of a college education on leadership and mentorship. And I've learned from some of the best leaders in the world, and I've made it a priority to be around them. And here's something that I want to encourage you to do, is that when you look at your personal development, when you look at your growth, when you look at your spiritual growth, your whatever growth you're wanting in your life, that this is a basic necessity. In my mind, I don't view reading leadership books and going to conferences and being in group coaching as a bonus or a luxury. It's not a luxury for me. It's not something that I do when I have extra funds laying around. It is budgeted into my life, just like paying the gas bill or paying the mortgage or putting gas in my vehicle. It's a necessity, not a luxury. And for leaders, you've got to begin to look at your growth in the exact same way, that investing in you at a high level is just a normal everyday part of your life. It's not something, well, one day when I can afford it. Well, one day when so-and-so happens. Let go of one day. One day is right now. And how are you showing up? Because guess what? You also have at your fingertips, my friend. You have probably a free public library in your community, and you have a Google search bar. So there's so much free content out there. Literally, if you are not growing, you're just choosing to stay ignorant. So, and I mean that, you guys know I love you, but there's no excuse not to grow. And I believe when you surround yourself with the best, you're going to rise to the occasion as well. So we become like who we hang around. And I think that there are people in your life, you've got to look at your relationships and go, okay, am I pouring into this person? Am I being led by this person, or is this just a neutral relationship? So you got to be able to gauge those relationships and look at who is a leadership figure in my life, who is a mentor, because part of being a leader means that you are led. It means that you invest in yourself. It means that you surround yourself with the best, and it's a priority, and you view it as an investment, not a sacrifice. You view it as an investment and a necessity. So I wanted to just talk about some of the things that I have observed that the best leaders do, kind of a crash course in leadership 101. And I want to encourage you to look at your life, not in a guilt, shaming, I'm not enough way, but just being honest, like doing an audit, if you will, like gauging what's my leadership. Do I view myself as a leader? Number one. Am I looking for permission, or do I feel like I've got to have a particular leadership title to be a leader? Or do you realize that because you are a human, because you are a human being breathing, you have influence, and it means you're a leader? I believe every single person is a leader, and it's all about how you use the measure of influence that you've been given and how you are committed to increasing your level of influence. So, all right, so let's get to it. So number one, the best leaders add value everywhere they go. Somehow, some way, they're adding value. If you want to increase your influence, then you need to be looking at, how am I adding value to the community, to the sphere of influence that I currently have? Instead of wishing you were somewhere else or with someone else, how are you showing up fully present, fully alive, and adding value? Now, here's where this can get twisted, because a lot of people think, well, I'm not doing this big thing. I don't have this ministry. I don't have this platform, this 1,000, million followers on Instagram, whatever the deal is. But you need to look at, okay, how are you adding value to the grocery store clerk? Are you looking her in the eye? Are you smiling? Can you be fully present with who you are communicating with and interacting with that's been placed in your path already? So I want you to look at, what's your sphere of influence, whether that's your job, your community. Who are you seeing on your daily path? We all have the places that we go on a daily, weekly basis. And how do you show up to that? And so much of communication is nonverbal. So what's your body language? Are you a presence that is light-filled, that's peaceful, that's powerful, that's the relaxed intensity, that's confident? Do you set people at ease, or are we frantic and rushed and unapproachable? And let me just tell you, this is something that I for sure have struggled with. We all do. So just know that I'm not up here preaching, telling you things that I haven't struggled with and gone through. Leadership is an area we're constantly growing in, and we never arrive. It's something we're always, always, always working on. For me, this is a big one, is being present in the small things. And, can I leave my phone in the car and can I just show up? Can I look people in the eye? Can I smile? Can I add value in some little ways? Can I give encouragement? Can I be in tune with the voice of God? Wherever I'm going, am I willing to be inconvenienced? This is huge. Am I willing to be inconvenienced to add value to someone's life? Now, this doesn't mean that I run around reactive and feeling like I'm the only one that can meet everyone's needs, but it's that relaxed intensity. It's an intentional lifestyle of being open and receptive to whatever God's wanting to do, however the Spirit of God is leading me to impact someone's life and to add value. So the best leaders that I have seen add value, and it's in a way where they're just fully present. Like, have you ever had conversations with someone where when you're talking to them, you literally feel like you're the only person in the room? You feel seen, you feel known, you feel truly valued. And that type of intention and that type of presence, it's really about presence, is what people are drawn to and what they are going to follow. So that's just a really simple shift in our day-to-day life, is being present, showing up, getting away from our phones and looking people in the eye and being aware of what our vibe is, what is the atmosphere inside of us that we're bringing into the room. Because here's the thing, you are a child of light. And when you walk into the room, you have the power to shift the atmosphere. So start believing that. Start believing, how am I shifting the atmosphere when I walk into this place? Because am I in a reactive mode already, or am I proactive? When I walk into the room, does my presence, lower or raise, the vibe that's going on? And you can think whatever you want to about vibes, but it's reality because we're energy beings. It's science. So, all right. So that was the first one, is the best leaders add value, and they add value in those small ways with their presence. They are thermostats, not thermometers. The second thing that I see great leaders do is they do what they say they will do. Their yes is yes, and their no is no. They're not flaky. They're not inconsistent. They don't say one thing and do another. They're not constantly changing their mind. They are decisive. Their yes is yes, and their no is no. And when they say they're going to do something, when they say they're going to be there, they do it. And what that does is it creates a track record of trust with the people that they're leading. And they know that they can respect and they can count on this person to follow through and show up to what it is, to whatever the vision was that they said that they were going to see through. And, in our society, the flaky, the wishy-washy, man, if there is ever a pet peeve of mine, it's this, is being flaky and being inconsistent and being wishy-washy. The word says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And it's so true. When we're indecisive, when we're double-minded, when we say one thing, when do another, when we're incongruent, when we're constantly late, we're constantly flaking on people, we're constantly no-showing. Sometimes how we do one thing is how we do everything, and it bleeds over into other areas of our lives. And if you are consistently saying one thing and doing another, and your yes is not yes and your no is not no, the people around you are not going to trust your leadership. So you need to be a person that's decisive and a person that follows through on what they say and isn't just mindlessly talking and talking and talking. You're actually walking and walking. So number 2 is let your yes be yes and your no be no. Number 3 that I see in the best leaders, Leadership 101, is the ability to cast vision, the ability to say, this is the purpose here. This is the intention here. This is where we're going, because without vision, the people perish. And a great leader has the ability to, with their people and in their own life, cast a vision. A vision means a preferred future. So we're constantly, what is the vision? What is the intention? What is the goal? And how are we going after that goal? Always keeping the vision in front of people is the mark of a great leader. Always saying, this is our why. This is where we're headed. This may not be where we are right now, but this is where we're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, then we become inconsistent. Then we get stuck. You have to keep the vision in front of you. A great leader is always focused on solutions, not just problems. So I would check you right now and I would ask, in your life, if you're stuck, if you're in some patterns right now, are you focused on the problem or are you focused on the solution? Because it's real easy to just talk about problems, instead of, okay, this is a problem. What are 5 possible solutions to this problem? And then how can we take action on them? So great leaders have a vision and they're always looking for solutions that support that vision. They're constantly keeping their vision in front of them. They're constantly reminding their people what the vision is, and we're going after it. Without vision, the people perish. They cast off restraint. So what is the vision? If you don't know what it is, find it. Ask God. He'll tell you what it is. Stop overthinking it. Write something down. Anything is better than nothing. And go. Take action, get clarity. Clarity comes from action. Clarity, intentionality comes from action, from practicing fast failure, from going with it and going forward. All right. So the next one that I think great leaders exhibit is humility and teachability. So I think great leaders always consider themselves a novice. They always consider themselves a beginner. They are always teachable and they're looking for ways that they can learn new things and grow. They're always challenging themselves to say, I haven't arrived. I don't know everything. I'm not the expert. I want to have a childlike teachability in every setting that I'm in. I mean, how many times have you gone into situations where it's obvious that this person thinks they know everything? They've been around the block. This ain't their first rodeo, and they're not teachable. They're not open to listening to the opinion of others. They're not willing to try new things. And their mindset is so rooted in what they accomplished 10 years ago or how long they've been doing something. And that attitude reeks of pride and arrogance. And I think the best leaders are always those that are teachable. And it doesn't matter how successful they've been. It doesn't matter how long they've been doing something. They understand that every day is a new day, and it's a new day to approach a situation with a childlike faith, a childlike spirit that says, teach me and show me. They're always looking for how they can learn from other people, that they haven't arrived. Like, yeah, sure, we know a lot of things, but I don't know everything. And how can I learn from people? How can I learn from the newbies? How can I learn from beginners? Because listen, if you don't know this, every single human being has value and dignity and something to teach you. Leaders, you're not always the one that's going to be doing the teaching. Actually, some of the best leaders are the best listeners, and they listen to their people. They listen to the marketplace. They listen to what people are saying. They listen to what's going on, and they're listening for what's between the lines. They're listening for what's under the surface. So keep that in mind, is that the best leaders are teachable and humble, and they show up to every situation with an open and receptive attitude to learn new things. Leaders are willing to learn new things and do hard things. They're not set in their patterns. They're not set in their ways. They're open and receptive. The next thing that I see in great leaders is that they're not asking you to do anything they're not willing to do themselves. So I feel like the best leaders lead by example. The best leaders take massive ownership and responsibility for their own life, for their own choices. They're quick to own their shortcomings, their failures. They're quick to apologize. They're quick to address issues, because that's what leadership does. It pursues, it influences, it adds value. So let me ask you a question. In the conflict, in the situations, the hard things that you're avoiding, when we avoid tough conversations, when we avoid expressing our feelings, how is that adding value to anyone? How is that increasing your influence? It's actually extremely selfish, and selfishness is really the opposite of leadership. So you need to look and say, what am I avoiding? Avoidance is selfishness, and go the opposite way, even if it's hard. Conflict resolution and addressing issues in a respectful way actually has the ability to bring you closer to the people that you're leading, to create more intimacy, because you've gone through stuff, you've worked it out. So I think the best leaders refuse to avoid things. They approach confrontation and issues head on. They own their stuff. They take massive responsibility, and they are not asking you to do anything that they're not willing to do themselves. They model by example. So if you're a leader right now and you are asking everyone else to be on time, you need to be on time. If you're asking everyone to do a certain thing, you need to model it by example first. And, I really feel like this one thing is what holds a lot of people back, because they are afraid of being an example. It's too much responsibility. It's too much pressure in their mind. They don't want to, or they feel like they've got to be perfect. And that's not what I'm saying either. You don't have to be a perfect example, but you do need to show everyone that you're in the game too, that you have skin in the game, and that you're not just demanding that everyone do something that you actually aren't doing and modeling, because people are watching, people are noticing. So how are you showing up? Do what you say you will do, be the example. And that kind of ties into the next one. I think that the best leaders are always open to correction and accountability. This is so huge. Oh my gosh. Listen, if you want to change your life radically, then I would invite you to ask 5 to 10 people what your blind spots are. What are your weaknesses? What do you need to work on as a leader? What are some things that they see that you may be totally unaware of that need to change in order for you to grow? Like, get some thick skin and really ask the people that know you best. Okay. Ask them where you need to grow and what are the areas of your life that, they see there may be some potential blind spots and issues there, because we all have blind spots. This is just reality. If you don't think you have them, then you're steeped in pride. We all have blind spots. We all have things that we need to work on in our leadership. So if you want to radically change your life, get accountable. Find people that you love that are going to tell you the truth, that love you enough to tell you the truth and are not afraid of a hard conversation, of a brave conversation, and ask them and then do it. Go about the business of changing your life. Get accountable. Invite instruction, invite correction. That's actually one of the definitions of wisdom that you'll find in Proverbs. Like, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Like, iron sharpens iron. Wisdom invites correction. The foolish casts off restraint. So invite correction into your life. Accountability and correction is something I feel like as a culture that people have such a hard time with. Like, put your big girl panties on, be an adult, realize no one is attacking you. If they're telling you something about your life, it means that they love you and they've got your best interest in heart. That's what true friendship is accountability and the truth in love. Truth spoken in love is one of the best things that you can have in your life. So surround yourself with people that are going to tell you the truth. The best leaders do that. They are not trying to defend themselves constantly. They're looking for ways they can grow. They invite correction even when it's painful. And then the other thing that I would say that the best leaders do is they are not afraid of hard conversations. They are not afraid to do the same thing that they're inviting other people to do to them, which is speak truth to BS. Speak truth, to speak the truth in love. Love people enough to not let them walk out in traffic. And then the last thing that I want to wrap this up with, and this is probably one of the most important things, is that great leaders refuse to let their emotions and their feelings dictate their destiny. I've said this before, but you can have your drama or you can have your dreams. You're not going to have both. You're going to have to make a decision, because you're a leader and you're decisive, is that you're going to have to make a decision that my emotions, my thoughts, and my feelings are my responsibility to heal and to manage. I have to show up and take responsibility for the wholeness of my soul. So as great leaders, your attitude, how you show up, how you lead is not determined on how you feel that day. You wake up and you're feeling a certain way. That's an indicator for you to go, okay, what am I believing to be true? What are my thoughts? Because thoughts create feelings, feelings create action. Your action is going to create your destiny. So what am I feeling? What are my thoughts? What am I believing today? A belief is a thought that you have assigned truth to. So we have tons of thoughts, but which thoughts are you accepting as truth on a conscious and a subconscious level? Those are your beliefs. You want to change how you feel. You need to get tuned into what you believe. So what is it that you're believing today? Get self-aware. Practice emotional intelligence. This is the biggest thing. The best leaders are extremely self-aware, and they have very high emotional intelligence for themselves and also for other people. So emotional intelligence is your emotional IQ, and it's your ability to articulate and also understand the emotions that you're feeling and why, and the emotions that other people are feeling and why. And when we get tuned into that, we're able to lead from a place that is intuitive and that is really servant-based and people-oriented, because you have to understand the why behind the why. So the best leaders that I know, they persevere, they continue on, that despite their emotions, despite the fact that life is happening to them. Listen, life is happening to everyone. And I think the best leaders are those that refuse to be victims. They refuse to be reactive instead of proactive. And they understand that, you know what? Life is happening to everybody. It doesn't, just because life is happening to me is not an excuse for me to lay down and die and let my dreams die. Now, that's not to say that we don't process, we don't get in therapy, we don't heal our souls, but our dreams don't have to be placed on hold in order for that to happen. Actually, many times it's the perseverance, it's the persistence, it's the continuing on, imperfection, flaws, messy emotions and all, that is going to develop in you what needs to be developed to see your dreams manifest. So ask yourself, am I letting my emotions just like dictate my day? Am I a victim to my emotions? Am I a victim to my life? Or am I showing up powerful? Am I showing up committed? Am I willing to communicate with my people when I'm feeling off, when I'm having a rough day? Am I willing to get teachable, accountable, correctable? Am I willing to take ownership for my life, massive ownership for my choices, and get up every day and walk out my calling with confidence, flaws and all, imperfections and all? As a student, as a novice, am I willing to do that? Am I willing to challenge myself every day? Lindsay, what are you believing to be true? You're feeling this way right now. Maybe it's your hormones. I don't know. But what are you believing to be true? What do you believe to be true about people? What do you believe to be true about God? What do you believe to be true about yourself? What do you believe to be true about your business? What do you believe to be true about your clients? What do you believe to be true? Because what you believe to be true is what you will see, and what we behold, we become. You are not a victim to your emotions. If you want to be a leader, you have to understand that. If you want to be an exceptional leader, you have to understand that your dreams are not dictated by your emotions. You have a choice, drama or dreams. Which one do you want? The best leaders are the most self-aware. The best leaders increase their emotional intelligence. The best leaders are not afraid of conflict and hard conversations. So, okay, I know that was a lot. I encourage you to share this episode with a friend. And guys, hey, listen, don't forget, if anything that I said today resonated with you, if you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to grow in my leadership. I want to walk out my calling with confidence. I'm sick of the fear, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, all of the stuff that kind of gets in the way when we want to really walk out our calling. If you really want to overcome that, I want to invite you to come enroll in my new course called And Confident. It is jam-packed with some incredible coaching, incredible teaching. You get access to a private Facebook group full of amazing women to grow and keep you accountable and encourage you in your leadership. And we are seeing women break through years of insecurity, years of self-sabotage, and go after the dreams and the destiny that God has placed on their hearts. So, okay, Passionista, until next time, I'll see you then. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And because I am so grateful, I want to give you something for free. Head over to lindsaynadler.com where you can download my completely free confidence affirmation and mantra that you can use every single day to instantly boost your confidence and renew your mind. And if you are loving all of the free content you're getting here on the podcast, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and share this episode with a friend, because empowered women empower women. I would love to connect with you on social media. You can find me at Lindsay Nadler on every social media platform. Until next time, I'll talk with you soon.